Good evening, folks. It's so great to have you here tonight with us for another installation of our virtual information webinar series. Uh, my name is John Kunz. I'm the Director of Admission at the Upper School. And tonight our focus is going to be the science program. So this is the Science Information Night webinar. As a reminder, this will be recorded, so you can refer back to this at your convenience or share it with anyone who you feel like would like to learn more about the science program this evening. And we'll give you the opportunity during this session to ask questions. But before we get to that point, let's go over the agenda for this evening. Next slide, please. So our agenda for tonight, we're going to learn a little bit about our science program philosophy. Then we'll take a look at the course overview. Then we'll shift to the electives offered in the science program. Then we can talk a little bit about additional opportunities in the science program. Then the main event, you'll hear from some of our students and get their perspective regarding our science program and some of the highlights. Then we will launch into a Q&A. And during this time, at any point in time during this webinar, feel free to add a question into the Q&A section, and we will certainly answer that question when it comes to our Q&A agenda timeline this evening. And then we'll talk a little bit about next steps in regards to what you can look forward to in the admission process moving forward. But without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our Science Department Chair, Ms. Shannon Fusina. Ms. Fusina.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to talk to you today and have you learn a little bit more about our program. Starting off with the philosophy of our department. It's really a threefold philosophy that we really believe in our upper school science program. Regardless of the course, the science, this is kind of our grounding base between all of our programs. So the first is the goal to encourage and stimulate each student's wonder, discovery, amazement, and respect for and knowledge of the natural world. We truly believe and understand that not every student is going to go forward in their life in a STEM field, but we still want them to have that groundwork and that background knowledge to be able to think critically, to question, to discover, and to see the wonders of the world around them. So at the core, that is what we hope for once they go through our department and take our science courses. We also want them to learn to think independently, creatively, analytically, and critically. So this is the real science, rhetoric, and thinking part of our curriculum. And then finally, we offer the advanced placement courses for those who want to study at a very high level, while also offering other electives that just allow students to enjoy science and take science from any level and to have that ability there for them. Next slide, please. So how we do this with the sequencing and the taking of the courses themselves is we do a physics first curriculum, meaning every ninth grader into our building starts off with physics. And we have one level. We do not, there's no leveling of the physics. It is everybody is in the same course. That moves into 10th grade where we do have 3 different offerings for first year chemistry. We have chemistry honors, chemistry with algebra applications, and chemistry with conceptual applications. This is generally more leveled towards the math because we don't want a student to struggle with the science due to having more challenge with the math. So for our conceptual application, we pull the math out. It is still there, but it is not the focus. Whereas our chemistry honors is our students who are generally a little stronger in their math ability. So we're able to challenge them with more of a mathematical understanding and learning through the laws and the equations, the science and the understanding. And then we have the algebra applications, which just pulls back a little bit of the inquiry style labs that our honors chem has. And then all 3 of those chemistries are applicable for either the biology honors or the biology. Again, the biology honors is just a little more independent learning. It goes a little more in depth with the lab work. And then we also have the biology. And so these are our first 3 core sciences. After this, we have many different APs or electives they can take. If a student is coming in not in the 9th grade, we do have upperclassmen going into those physics classes. They just kind of fit in what they haven't taken. So generally, if they're coming in 10th grade, we have them going into chemistry to stay aligned with their grade. And then in 11th grade, a lot of times they will go back to physics, which is perfectly fine. And we have students doing it all the time. Next slide, please. After those 3 core science, we have plenty of electives and AP offerings that students can also take to really investigate further and also allow them to choose the path that the students want to take. So we have AP Biology, AP Chemistry, AP Physics 1, AP Physics C, AP Environmental Science, and AP Psychology. These AP Sciences are generally taken junior and or senior year. A lot of times students will double up in a science if they're really interested in it, or they'll wait till senior year, but they'll still take some more advanced coursework in the area that they choose. So we'll have some students who are more interested in the biological or life sciences, and they may be taking AP Bio, AP Environmental, where we have students who are just a little more interested in the physical sciences. So those are our students who are going to take the AP Chem and AP Physics 1 and AP Physics C. Just as for your information, AP Physics 1 is physics, a second year physics course, but it's still algebra based, whereas our AP Physics C is our calc based physics. Next slide, please. The fun part of our department are our elective offerings. Every year we offer 6 electives, 3 each semester, and these are really the fun classes. These are generally built by teachers based on what their interests and what their passions are. A majority of our department have worked in industry and have our degrees in our actual science. So we're all coming with a wealth of information, and a lot of times we have all very unique specialties. So you really get to see where our faculty's interests are and get to see them shine and share their love for science with the students in these courses. Every year the courses are different. What is offered, I couldn't even begin to tell you what's going to be offered next year because a lot of times there are new courses that come up. So for example, this year we have anatomy and physiology, comparative anatomy, core concepts and sustainability, biological adaptations, wetlands biology, and oceanography. Last year we had forensics and oceanography and astronomy. So they vary every single year what we have. We always have one elective that 10th through 12th grade can take, and then our other electives are generally reserved for our 11th and 12th graders. But the great thing about these electives is they are not these high level courses. These are classes that students can take just for the love of science, just for the enjoyment of it. And also some students just are not ready for that second science at the AP level. So we have these offerings to still be able to enjoy and learn and engage in the sciences. Next slide, please. One thing that we're very excited about that is new this year is our STEM certificate program. This is a program that is supporting students that have a really deep interest in how that want to study the STEM fields at a high level. So our science, technology, engineering, and mathematics courses. So in order to complete this program, to be able to graduate with the STEM certificate, students have to apply at either their sophomore or end of freshman or end of sophomore year. And they have to complete a certain amount of classwork, a certain amount of AP courses in the STEM fields. They have to have an application through participation in some STEM related activity that goes beyond the normal classwork. So this is either an internship or working at a lab work or a summer program where they're hands-on in the science. And then the final part is they have to then share out through that independent STEM related experience. We also have other opportunities outside of just classes for students to get involved in the science. First one we have is Science Club. This is our student-directed science program. In the past, we've had students in Science Club want to be in Science Olympiad, where they go and compete against other schools in the state. We have students who are really involved in the current events and want to talk about them and bring in speakers or listen to lectures or join in webinars that are going on. We have science outreach where we're going to lower schools or other area elementary schools and doing demos, and also other local offerings. So for example, the Science Club has hosted astronomy nights where we set up out on the football field and stargaze. So it's completely student driven how much or little Science Club does every year, but the best part about it is student driven. So we let their what they want to get involved in kind of shine. As a national type of competition, we participate in both the chemistry and physics Olympiad in the spring, where students take tests to compete against other states, other schools, and so on. Generally, every year in the chemistry Olympiad, we always have a student or two who scores high enough to then move on to the regional test. And then finally, we also participate in the Junior Science and Humanities Symposium. This is a conference that's put on by Georgetown University. Our upper school faculty select a delegation of juniors to attend, where they get to go and see actual labs that are going on and other research projects that students their age are doing. Generally, these types of symposium are kind of reserved for college level and beyond. So it's a really exciting opportunity for students at the high school level to see what is out there and what science beyond high school looks like. And then every year, finally, we have a whole bunch of students that get involved outside of the school. We have students that apply to and participate in the Virginia Governor's School, in the Mathematics, Science, and Technology program, the Medicine and Health Sciences, and the Agriculture. These are the 3 science-related programs that we've had students participate in. We have students participate in the Virginia Space Grant Consortium, which is a program that goes on during the year that students can earn college credit for, and it's a real dig deep, hands-on type program. We've had students participate in the National Institute of Health Summer Internship Program, the Carnegie Mellon University Summer Science Program, the Children's National Medical Center Intern Program, and so many more. These were just the last few that I can remember students coming to me about and chatting about. We have a running document that the students have access to that constantly has out-of-school programs. So as they come into us, we are posting them on this document. So there's always a wealth of information out there that we are constantly encouraging our students to apply for and to dig into for their interest in science. And now the fun part, actually hearing from the students themselves. I can tell you about it all day, but until you hear it from them, it doesn't really become real. So I'm going to hand it over first to Julian.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julian. I'm a senior, and I'm currently taking AP Psychology and AP Physics 1. And then I came here in 9th grade, so.
Thanks, Julian. Mira?
Hi, I'm Mira Major. I'm currently in AP Bio and Anatomy and Physiology, and next semester I'm taking Comparative Anatomy. And last year I took AP Environmental Science and Honors Bio, and then sophomore year I took Chemistry, and freshman year I took Physics. Last year I was in the Science Club, and I was on the Leadership Council, and this year I'm the co-president of the Eco Justice Club.
Thank you, Mira. Morgan?
Hi, I'm Morgan. This year I take Honors Bio and AP Chem, and I'm also in Anatomy and Physiology, and I'm taking Comparative Anatomy next semester. And I came in 9th grade.
And finally, Sam.
Hi, my name is Sam. I'm a junior. This year I'm taking Honors Biology and AP Environmental Science. Last year I took Honors Chemistry, and I'm also the science subject head for our student tutoring program. So I oversee tutoring in subjects such as physics and chemistry.
Thanks, guys. Now that you've introduced yourselves, if you just want to go through and kind of talk about some of your favorite labs or say favorite projects or units that you've covered from your time here in our science program. Starting with Julian.
So I think my favorite unit was the momentum unit in physics. So that was 9th grade. I don't remember doing so well in it, but I remember enjoying what I was learning. So that's part of the reason I'm taking AP Physics now. And then I think my favorite lab was the one I just did in AP Psychology. It was the brain dissection one. So we got to dissect a cow brain to study like the parts of the brain and how they work and how they operate. So.
Thanks, Julia. Mira?
I think my favorite class that I've taken was AP Environmental Science last year. I didn't expect to take this class, and I really didn't expect to like it, but I signed up for it at the last minute, and it actually became my favorite class I've taken so far in high school. One thing that like I remember learning about that I really liked was we talked about like newer forms of renewable energy, like besides just wind and solar and water energy, which we had like always learned about, and I found that really interesting.
Thank you. Morgan?
I think my favorite class so far has been my chemistry class with Ms. Fusina last year. My favorite project was we did an element project where we each got assigned an element and we had to make an element square with facts about it. And they hung it up along the wall. So it's like a whole periodic table. And then we did like a fun writing assignment about it where we just did research and just listed a bunch of facts about it, but in like a creative way.
Thank you, Morgan. And Sam?
Similar to Morgan, my favorite class was probably honors chemistry last year. It was the first time the school ever offered honors chemistry. So it was the first time in high school where I was able to take like a more rigorous and like fast-paced science course. And I think my favorite lab from that year would probably be the flame test lab because first we did the flame test just regularly, like saturating pieces of wood with chemicals and then lighting on fire, which is already pretty cool. But then we did like an investigative portion where we didn't know what chemical we were assigned, and we had to use the different properties such as the color of the flame and like how much it lit up and to identify the chemical, which was also pretty cool.
All right, now that we have kind of whet your appetite a little bit, folks, regarding some of our student perspective and giving you an opportunity to kind of see what they've enjoyed about our science department, we're going to go into the Q&A section. So next slide, please. So this is your chance. This is your chance to put our students under the microscope to the test here. It looks like we already have a question in. I have some questions at the ready myself that I think that you might like to learn more about. But for starters, this question is, I forget who just mentioned this. I think it might have been you, Sam, but it is, can you tell us more about the eco-justice program that was mentioned previously? Was that you, Sam? No, that was, I forget who, but whoever is part of that program, if you could talk a little bit more about that program.
Yeah, that's my club this year. So in previous years, it's been called Green Leadership Council, and it's kind of the sustainability group of our school. This year, we switched the name to Eco Justice because we wanted to focus more on the policy side of environmentalism. So the main things we do are we do a lot of stream cleanups where we all meet as a group and then we go and try and pick up trash around our local streams. We do that like every couple weeks or so. And then we kind of just try and organize like activities or presentations for the school to try and educate everyone about our school's environmental impact and how we can help.
Thank you, Mira. And this question is probably a little bit more geared towards Julian and Morgan since they joined us in ninth grade, but it is relative to the transition that they experienced coming from other schools into St. Stephen's and St. Agnes School as freshmen. Can you all talk a little bit about the transition you experienced and specifically how that transition was relative to your science experience in ninth grade?
So personally for myself, the transition was pretty smooth because I'm used to moving around a lot. I imagine for others it might be a little more difficult, like in general, but in the science department, going into high school, science is more, there's more sections to science. It's not a general, just like earth science, life sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, and all that. So I think everybody, when they come down to high school, is on an equal playing field when it comes to science. Personally, in eighth grade, I took a class that was kind of a precursor to chemistry. So by the time I got to chemistry, I had a little bit of a background. So it helped, actually. So, yeah.
Personally for me, where I was coming from, we did very like general science. It wasn't like specific. but for sure, St. Stephen, St. Agnes requires a lot more higher expectations. The teachers really expect more of you, but they're also willing to help you if you're struggling, which is really nice.
Thanks to both of you on that one, answering that question. Another question that we will often receive from our prospective families is regarding the typical workload that you might experience in the science program. So can some of you speak a little bit to kind of what you've experienced in terms of that workload and how manageable it is, and how are you able to kind of do all the different things you do, and also do well in the science that you have taken so far?
Yeah, I'll start. So, all of the panelists in here, we all have an extracurricular activity, so that takes up a good chunk of our time after school. So generally, I say I get home between 5 and 6 most times. Not right now, before it used to be 7 o'clock. So, but science has never been an issue for me because the workload is pretty manageable. We get about anywhere between 30 and an hour of homework a night, 30 minutes and an hour of homework a night, so it's never too bad. I take 2 AP science classes right now, and it's about, I'd say, split between them is an hour and 15 of homework a night, every 2 nights. So yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think that for my freshman and sophomore year classes, which were just physics and chemistry, the homework load was pretty similar to my other classes, and like it wasn't very hard or not manageable or anything. When I got to junior year and I started taking AP classes for science, it was definitely a shock to the system at first for how much more the workload increased, and the workload transitioned from like worksheets to more like reading chapters on your own. But after a little while, it got a lot easier and I was able to manage that a lot more. And I think it's a lot closer to like classes that you would do in college. So I think it actually helped me a lot to take those classes and have a harder workload in the
Miss Jusina, we just received a question in from one of our prospective families, and so this is, I think, more for you. But what will the off-campus science opportunities potentially look like if we are still dealing with COVID-19? And I'm assuming that, well, we're dealing with that right now. So maybe we can talk a little bit about how things look right now for us.
Sure. And just to be clear, I'll answer both ways because I'm not sure what this question is referring to, if it's referring to our own like St. Stephen, St. Agnes opportunities or the outside opportunities that I told our students engage in. That one's actually the quicker answer. Most of the programs kind of pivoted to virtual type programming. So there still are outside opportunities. Our students are still engaged, especially in the VSEE, the Virginia forget what exactly it stands for right now. My mind is blanking, but they've gone to a full virtual model for right now with the ability to switch back to in-person if time allows. So programs are seeing this and they are adapting as need be. For our own opportunities, we are really trying to be as thoughtful as we can for how we can do hands-on activities when we have to be full distance learning. Whether that be kitchen chemistry, we made physics packets for all of our physics students so they have at-home lab activities that they're doing. And honestly, it's working beautifully. One of the coolest takeaways from what we've learned this year with doing some of these labs at home is that the content is sticking a little better because the students are seeing that science can occur outside of a science lab. And that's such a cool thing to see. And so honestly, I think that's something that's going to stick moving forward, that we're going to take some of these labs out of the classroom and having them done at home, because science doesn't just work in a special location, right? It works everywhere. There are some challenges, of course, like I can't send chemistry labs home. Unfortunately, that would be frowned upon, but we do have great online software called Pivot that we are using that does pretty much real life lab work through video analysis. And with the cohort model, we're able to get cohorts into the classroom and do labs so that when you are on campus, you are getting that hands-on tangible experience that we're used to with our labs.
Thank you, Ms. Vicina. And when we move forward after the Q&A is done, you'll actually be able to have a chance to see a short clip of what they're doing right now in one of the AP labs. One other question I wanted to ask the student is, well, we've heard kind of what their interests are in terms of science, but in order to kind of demonstrate to you how well-rounded they are kind of beyond the scope of science, I'd like for us to hear a little bit about what some of their interests are outside of the science program. So let's hear from all four of you. What are some of your other interests outside of science?
So I plan to major in architecture in college. So the only really science course I think right now that really applies to my field is physics, I think. So, and then the classes I take right now are Mandarin. I think Mandarin and music are by far the biggest like divergences from science. So, yeah.
What about your extracurriculars, Julian?
Oh, for extracurriculars, it's mainly right now. It's mainly sports. I think sports take up a big chunk of time. I also help out with the pit orchestra for the musical and stuff like that. So, I'm always on campus. Yeah.
Thanks, Julian. Who wants to go next year?
I play lacrosse and field hockey after school.
And that takes up most of your time, Mira, right?
Yeah, it takes up a lot of time.
What about you, Morgan?
I run cross country and track, and then I also do lacrosse.
And last but not least, Sam?
So I'm pretty heavily involved with our school's theater program, and I also help run our co-ed a cappella group, Gospel Voices, and I also do choir.
Thank you. Another question I have for you, and this is probably a little bit more for the older students who are with us this evening. One question that I think a lot of our families like to learn about from you as a student is how prepared you feel for college. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you're feeling prepared or the level of preparedness you are feeling through your experience in the science program for what lies ahead of you in college. Can you speak a little bit about that, especially for our older students?
I feel actually incredibly prepared, especially from I think the labs they assign us in science help a lot because it's a lot of it especially towards the second half of the year, they become a little more hands off and it's kind of self-directed. So it kind of helps you to organize both your thoughts and your time and focus on the goal of what you have to do in your assignment. So I think the biggest thing I've taken from not just science but St. Stephen's in general is time management. So it really helps.
I think like Julian said, I also really learned time management and I do feel prepared for college because like the AP classes, a lot of them are more follow a model, more teach yourself classes, and then we go more advanced in class in person. So I think that that's also like a lot more like college, like I kind of said earlier. So yeah, I feel really prepared for that.
Thanks to you both on that one. Sam, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about what you are planning on doing with your application to the STEM program. I know that you have applied for that. Can you talk about what your plan is, and have you kind of mapped out a plan in regards to how you are going to accomplish completing that program?
Yeah, so I applied to the program at the end of my sophomore year, which was the first time it was available. And so in order to receive the STEM certificate, you have to take 4 AP STEM classes and receive at least a 4 on all of them, or 3, I don't remember. But you have to receive a certain score on each of the AP exams. And then you have to take at least one non-AP STEM elective, which I still have to do. And then you have to do one STEM extracurricular. And my STEM extracurricular is tutoring in science and being the science subject head. And then, as Ms. Fusina said earlier, you have to have one off-campus experience with STEM that you have to present to the science department. And then you have to do your senior project in some field of STEM. So a lot of the STEM certificate is pretty heavy on senior year, especially with taking AP STEM courses and obviously focusing my senior project on STEM. And I'm not super sure what I want to do with my senior project or with my independent independent off-campus STEM experience, but I'm probably going to start looking into that so that I can get it done my junior year. But during the summer after my junior year. But I already have my AP STEM courses for next year planned out.
Thank you, Sam. We do have another question that just came in into our Q&A. And that, again, more for Ms. Fusina, about what percentage of our students take AP Science classes? I'm not sure if you know that number. I know what the number is for our students in taking at least one AP course. That's about 90% of our seniors will have taken at least one AP course before they graduate, but I'm not sure about science. Ms. Fusina, do you have any information on that?
I don't know. And it honestly kind of ebbs and flows each year depending on the class. Some classes are more STEM heavy, some are more humanities heavy. This year, the senior class is very science and math heavy. So we actually have, it's really exciting. We have 10 sections of the AP Sciences this year. 11, sorry, forgot AP Chem. How could I forget that? I'm a chem teacher. We have 11 sections of AP Science classes this year, which is the most out of since I've been here, which is really, really exciting. And we hope it continues that way. A lot of those students, though, are doubled up. So that's why I don't have the actual percentage. But any student who wants to take an AP Science course, there are some prerequisites for some of them, but there are some classes that are available no matter what. And another one just came into it, the AP class, small or large. It kind of depends on the course and on the year. This year, our AP Physics classes we have 2 sections of each AP Physics 1 and AP Physics C. They are on the smaller side. A lot of times we only have one section, but we had too many students for one section this year. Whereas our AP Psychology, that's one of the most popular classes in the school, those are capped. Those are our larger sections. So it just kind of depends on the enrollment that we get and if we can make it one section or we need to split it up into 2. So the class sizes will range anywhere from 8 to 18.
And I think that is all for the Q&A, for the questions at this point in time. And we'll remind everyone, if you do have questions that come up, we will provide you with Ms. Fusina's email address on the last slide of this webinar, of this slide deck. So you are more than welcome to email Ms. Fusina, or you can email us in the admission office. We're happy to put you in communication with Ms. Fusina, or with any of our wonderful students that are here tonight as well. If you have a follow-up question for them, I'm sure that they would be happy to answer any questions that you might have. If we could move to the next slide, please. So this is something that that we shared just today on our social media mashup page, and I wanted to show this to you just because this is a great resource for you. If you go to our media mashup page on our website, you will see this information pop up on a daily basis. And it really kind of showcases the amazing work that is being done in our science classes, in all of our classes, to be honest with you. But this was in particular to what is happening in some of our science classes. And you can notice, and we're going to actually play a little video so you can see this actually take place. But you can see, as Ms. Fusina was referring to, how the labs are taking place both inside and outside of school. And I think this has been pretty exciting. And I really enjoyed watching this short video clip that you're going to see on the next slide.
Man, I'm just gonna wait for the second minute now. Okay, so we're gonna take a picture every minute now. Thank you. So,
All right, so guys, what are we seeing here? We're seeing oxygen being produced by the breakdown of hydrogen peroxide breaking down and producing O2. And the color reagent is turning brown with that oxygen. So as oxygen is produced, it's going to get more brown.
in space it is almost the same. It just went up like maybe a level on the peroxide.
This is what it looks like right now. It's been about 2 minutes.
So it's been about a minute and it's already turning brown. We can show you guys.
Alright, so it's turning brown a little bit. You see that? Okay, and then place the tube. Place the tube in a test tube rack. Immediately begin time. Mr. Yoder, can you time this? Oh, okay.
How's your time?
Huh?
We mixed them.
Yeah, we mixed them.
Well, we only did one. Yeah, the one in the picture.
So you can see, I really was amazed at our students. Just the fact that they're able to collaborate through two different mediums, right? Online with our students at home, while the other group is on campus actually kind of performing the lab with the help from their group members that are Zooming in. I just really is a testament to the work that our teachers are doing to really kind of bring to life their experience for our students in science and beyond. Using it's been working well, but it is a challenging model, the high flex model for our teachers. But they deserve a lot of credit. They've pivoted on a dime, and they're just doing amazing work. And our students as well continue to strive to achieve to great lengths, and especially in the science program. Next slide, please.
Man, I'm just gonna wait for the second minute now.
So it wouldn't be a virtual session without a couple of next steps from the admission office. So just wanted to let you know if you're here, if you're watching this tonight, and if this is the first time you have watched one of our virtual information sessions, regarding next steps, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and schedule a time to do a tour. And you can do those either virtually or on campus. We are following very safe protocols for our families that come to campus, so we protect them and our community. So you can do either one, but that's definitely the next step, and those tours are filling up very quickly. We also are offering Saturday tours, which are full for the next 2 weekends. But if you'd like to take advantage of those, the next opportunity will be December 5th. And you also would want to schedule your interview if you've already done the campus tour, or you can do that first. Our next virtual webinar information session is going to be focusing on our Episcopal values. That will be an all-school information session that will be hosted on December 2nd at 7 p.m. So more information will be forthcoming regarding that information session. Regarding those supporting documents, this is just a reminder for the different items, the different components that will make up us, the admission committee, reviewing student files this year, and just a general reminder again that we will not be looking at the SSAT or the ISEE to judge one's candidacy this year towards their application to St. Stephen's and St. Agnes. Next slide, please. And again, this is just a look at our future admission events. As you see, we will continue to have events in our virtual information webinar series. December 2nd is the Episcopal Values webinar. December 8th, you'll learn more about our wonderful history program. And then you'll have other opportunities when we return from our winter break in January. Next slide, please. So that is it for this evening. We are so happy that you were able to join us. And again, this will be recorded. Please feel free to take down Miss Fusina's email address here as well. Let's give a warm virtual applause for our wonderful students who took the time out of their busy schedule tonight to be with us. They are wonderful. They are kind of what makes our community rich, and they always do an amazing job. So we thank you again for coming out to see us this evening. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time. Take care.